Shalom, shalom. I want to give our honor and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushua, right? This brother Aliyah, right? And so I want to get into this video, man. Passover is coming up, right? We know Passover is coming up, right? So we want to make sure that we're in the spirit. Are you in the spirit, right? Passover is coming up, right? Are you in the spirit, right? And you always want to be in the spirit, right? We always want to be in the spirit, right? We always want to be walking in integrity and truth, right? But let's go to this priest. Let's get this thing started. Right. Let's go to Colossians chapter 3, verse 17. First, start off with that. Right. So it's Colossians 3:17. It says, and whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord Yahushua, giving thanks to Yahweh and the Father by him. Right. So whatever we do, man, we're going to do it, make sure we're doing it in the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, right? In word, action, or deed, right? That's always first and foremost, right? And we want to make sure that we're constantly examining ourselves, right? Get this, bear with me. Bear with me. Get this precept though. Get this precept. Bear with me. So we gotta make sure. I'm trying to bear with me. Find this precept real fast. Right. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 5. And let's go to here. 1 Corinthians 5. Let's go there. 1 Corinthians chapter 5, right? And it says, we're going to start at verse 6. It says, your glory is not good. Know ye not that a living leaven leaveneth the whole lump, right? So leaven is an agent that makes things rise, right? Leaven makes things rise, right? So you don't want sin to rise in you. You understand what that means when it says know that you're leaven the whole lump, right? This is not talking about actual leaven, right? It says purge out therefore the old leaven. It's not talking about actual leaven, right? That old leaven is that old sin, that old man. You don't want that you don't want sin to increase. You don't want iniquity to increase in you. You don't want that old man to increase with you, right? You just want to get rid of that old sin. You want to get rid of that old man. It says purge out. When you purge something out, let's go to the word purge. Let's go to the word purge, right? Let's go to the word purge. See if I can find it. All right. Purge. Purge. It says to cleanse out, to clean thoroughly, to cleanse. So you want to make sure that your body, right, is cleansed, right? Your spirit is cleansed through the spirit, right? That's why you want to always doing that, right? People say, you want to make sure your spirit's right before Passover, right? You want to make sure you always are cleansed through the spirit, but especially before Passover, right? Because Passover is sifting season, right? A lot of people fall out this truth, right? Because then they're around Passover, man. A lot of people follow this truth during Passover, Passover, right? So you want to make sure that your spirit is cleansed, right? A lot of people, they make sure that they get out leaven out their houses and things like that, right? But what about your spirit, right? What about this house, right? We gotta physically get the leaven out, but you want to spiritually get the leaven out as well, right? So you want to make sure that you're in the right spirit, right? You don't want to be sitting there, you know what I'm saying, Passover here, right? And you still damn got a whole damn wicked a tab of iniquity on you, right? Because you ain't been repenting, you ain't been fasting, you ain't been praying. Now you got all kind of demons on you, right? In this Passover. And Lord can sift you out this thing, man. Lord can take you out, right? Because you didn't cleanse, right? You didn't cleanse your spirit. You didn't cleanse yourself, right? Let's go back. right? And it says, uh, oh, I'm not bad. Let me go to it right here. First Corinthians chapter 5, yo. All right, let's go back here. All right, it says, "Purge out therefore the old limb." So you gotta purge out that old man, that ye may be a new lump, right? As ye are 11, right? So we gotta be that new lump. We gotta be that new man, right? That new man, right? You gotta purge out that old man. Hey, Paul said, "I die daily." Let's see that real fast. Right, you gotta die daily through the spirit. That means that old man, he got to constantly die daily. Or you gotta kill that old man every day. Right? You gotta kill that old man every day. Right? Let's get that real quick. So, get that right there. It's right here. Let's get this. First Corinthians. It says, "I protest by your rejoicing, which I have in Hamashiach Yahushua our Lord, I die daily." So you gotta kill this old man daily, right? So as time gets drawn near to Passover, right? You want to make sure that you're killing out that old man. You're getting all that leaven out your spirit, right? Getting that leaven out the lump, right? Because you don't want no iniquity in you during that time, right? Because why? When I say no iniquity, you don't want to be, okay, we go off in this thing, but you don't want to be in the spirit of having wickedness, demons on you, man, right? Because let's go to the jump now. Let's jump now. Bear with me. Before I get that, let's go. I'm gonna continue on this, and then we're gonna get to why you don't want to do that, right? It says, "Therefore, let us keep the feast not with old leaven," right? So you want to keep the Passover. You don't want to keep the Passover with the old leaven, with that old man, with that old iniquity, right? You want to purge those things out. "Neither with leaven of malice and wickedness." So it says you don't want to keep the feast of Passover with the old leaven, neither with malice or wickedness. So you gotta purge out wickedness, man, right? Because you could get sifted out in this thing, right? But with unleavened bread in sincerity and truth, right? So you wanna make sure that you're sincere in truth, right? That's having integrity, right? You want to make sure that you're having integrity in this thing, right? It says, "But with unleavened bread of sincerity and truth," right? And a lot of people, they got a lot of baggage that they try to bring in with them, right, during Passover, and it caused them to get sifted out. I've seen this. I've seen this years, right? I've seen this for years, man. A lot of people get sifted out around this time because they don't take it serious, right? It says, "Therefore, let us keep the feast not with old leaven," right? So you got to purge all that out. You got to purge out all that wickedness out, right? Let's go. Keep going. All right. Go to Galatians. Go to Galatians chapter. That's not what I'm looking for. That's not what I'm looking for. Let me find this precept. Bear with me. Find this precept real fast. So bear with me. Bear with me. I'm looking for this specific precept. Let me see if it's right here though. Bear with me. I want to get into like how when you dealing with Passover, You want to make sure that you're being sincere, right? Because you had it where you couldn't even the strangers couldn't even drink the Passover, right? Let me see if I find this thing. Yeah, right, here we go. This is what I'm looking for right here. This is what I'm looking for. Right. So let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 27. It says, "Wherefore whosoever shall eat this bread." Now this is talking about Passover, right? It says, "Shall eat this bread and drink this cup of the Lord unworthily, shall be guilty of the body and blood of the Lord." Right? So if you drink this thing unworthy, that means you didn't take the time to purge out yourself, right? To purge out the iniquity, to purge out the sins, to purge out the old man. And now you're in a state where you're drinking this thing unworthily. This says shall be guilty of the body and the blood of the Lord. Right. So you don't want to do that, right? You want to drink of this thing unworthy. And how you find yourself to be worthy, right? Is by purging yourself out. It says, "But let a man examine himself, so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup." So you gotta drink, you gotta examine yourself, right? That's why we want to constantly be examining ourselves, right? Constantly purging out the old man, constantly do this thing, right? You should always want to be in the spirit, right? Where the Passover is coming tonight, you should always want to be purging out that old man. It says, "For he that eateth and drinketh unworthily, eateth and drinketh damnation to himself." That's why it's so vital, right, to you to be in the right spirit, right, around Passover. It says, "For he that drinketh unworthily, eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, not concerning the Lord's body." Because we got to remember that the Passover is symbolic of Yahweh's body, right? Let's go to it. Let's go to it. Passover, and it says right there. It says not discerning the Lord's body. As a matter of fact, let's read up. Let's read up in verse 23. It says, "For I have received of the Lord that which also I deliver unto you, that the Lord Yahushua, the same night in which he was betrayed, took bread, and when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, Take, eat. This is my body, which is broken for you. This do remembrance of me." Right? So and this was during Passover, right? That's what we saw. It was during Passover, right? They was eating and drinking, and he was saying, "This body, this food, this is symbolic for my body, right? It's symbolic for my body, right?" And the blood was and the drink was the cup. What was in the cup? The wine was symbolic for his blood, right? So you can't drink and eat of the Lord, right, unworthy. You don't want to drink and eat of Yahweh Shemiyah unworthily, right? That's how you gotta literally think about this. We're having a feast in remembrance, of course, when we left out of Exodus, because that was going on, right? They had the Passover because they had to sprinkle put the blood of the doorpost, right, so the Lord could pass over their house, right, and not consume them, because that's when he killed the firstborn of the Egyptians, right? But the feast, right, is also symbolic for Yahweh Shah, right? Because you had to kill a lamb, right? That lamb, the blood of that lamb the blood of the lamb protected you, right? Yahweh Shah blood protects us. His blood, he died for us, right? His blood, right, is a shield for us, right? That we can possibly have salvation. He had to die for that. He had to die for our sins, right? That's where we can repent. We got grace because the blood that he shed. Just like when they had to slay that lamb, right? And they had to put that blood on the doorpost to protect them from the destruction, right? And by Yahweh dying, right, he protect us of the destruction that we are worthy of. We are worthy of death. We are worthy of death. But he died for us, right? So just like how that lamb was slain, right? Yahweh was slain, right? So you don't want to drink of that cup, right, unworthily, man. You want to make sure that you're constantly moving in the spirit, right? of integrity. That's a good word. Integrity. Bear with me. Bear with me. Get a definition of word integrity real fast. Integrity. Right. It says integrity. The quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, moral or rightness, honest or rightness, probity, rectitude, honor, right? The state of being whole, undivided, right? So it says of being honest, because you got to be honest with yourself in this thing, right? It says moral principles. What are our principles? Our principles is the commandments. That are our morals. Our morals lie in the law. So by us upholding the law out of honesty and truth, being upright, right? That's us walking in integrity. And by you walking in integrity, that's you purging out that old man. That's you purging out that old leaven. That's in you examining yourself, thus finding yourself to be worthy to drink and eat of the Lord's cup, right? So let's go back to it. Let's go back to it. Okay. Let's go back to it. Bear with me. Okay. Go to this next precept. All right. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 9 and verse 4. It says, and if thou wilt walk before me as David thy father walked in integrity of heart, in uprightness. Right? So David walked in integrity, right? We know that David, he moved in wisdom, right? So we gotta walk in integrity, to do according to all that I have commanded thee, and will keep my statutes and my judgments, right? So we gotta walk in integrity as our forefathers, right? Being blameless, right? Let's see what they got here on the word integrity as well. Let's see what they got there. It says integrity, completeness, completeness, fullness, innocence, right? Innocent, simplicity, integrity, right? It says integrity, perfection, simplicity, uprightly, right? And we know when we talking about perfection, how do we strive for perfection? How do we achieve perfection? Psalms 19:7, right? It says the law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. So by you keeping the commandments, right, you're thus walking in integrity, right? The law of the Lord is perfect, right, converting the soul. So by you keeping law, statutes, commandments, right, that's how you move in integrity, uprightness, uprightly, completeness, right? And it says the testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. So when you be going to hell off, right? When you go to hell off, you actually lacking integrity. You're lacking uprightness, right? You're lacking uprightness. So you want to always be walking in integrity, especially in this time during Passover. You want to make sure that you move in integrity, right? Right. So let's go back to it. 1 Corinthians chapter 11. So you want to be walking in integrity in this thing, man. Examine yourself, right? It says, let's go back to where we was at. Right. It says, back to that verse 29. Right, it says, we're gonna read it again. It says, for he that eateth and drinketh unworthily eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, not concerning the Lord's body. Right? So you not, hey, you said you drink, you say you drink it to damnation. You want to do that to yourself, man. Right? So make sure that you're examining yourself, right? You're purging out that old leaven, right? And let's go to it. When you purge out the old leaven, what you gotta do? Right? You gotta replace it with something else that you gotta replace with that unleavened, right? Which is that new man. Let's go to Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 22. Right? Ephesians 4 and 22. It says that ye put off concerning the former conversation, the old man. You putting off the former conversation, the old man, that's you purging out that old, that's that unleavened, that old leaven. That's purging out the old leaven, right? Putting off that old man, putting off that former conversation, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lust, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind. So you gotta be removed. You gotta be renewing your mind. Your mind gotta be renewed. You gotta be refreshed, right? When they kept the Passover, it was the beginning of the year as well, right? You got the beginning of the year going on, right? So you refreshed, right? Everything's coming to life, right? Springtime, right? It's the season it is. And you gotta be coming life through the spirit. What gives you life through the spirit? Right? That's what gives you life. Let's go to this right here. Proverbs 7 and 2. Keep my commandments and live, and my law as the apple of thy eye. Right? So the law, by keeping the commandments, right? And that keeps you alive. Right? That gives you life. Right? It gives you life. Right? The commandments give you life, and that's the beautiful thing. That's the kind of spirit that you want. When you think about the spirit of Passover, and yet again, you got everything coming to life. Let's go to what it looks like. Right? In spring. Let's look up spring. That's how you want to be in the spirit. You want to be refreshed in the spirit. You want to be new in the spirit, right? That's purging out that 11. When you cleansing things, right now it's like it's new. When you wash that car, right, it starts to look new, right? This is what happens with the spring, right? Let me share my screen. This is what happens with the spring. You got all the flowers are blossoming, right? You know what I'm saying? You got these things. You got the flowers blooming. You know what I'm saying? The trees looking beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Everything just spring to life. You got all the animals. That's a lot. It's a big time too. You have a lot of animals breed during the spring, or they have a lot of animals born in the spring, right? So it's a beautiful time, right? And that's how you gotta be through. You gotta be refreshed during Passover. So you should be refreshed through the spirit, right? Cleansed through the spirit, right? You gotta be cleansed through the spirit. Shalom. You gotta be cleansed through the spirit. Let's go to another one. Let's go to Psalms chapter 119. It says, wherewith shall share my screen. It says, wherewith shall a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed thereto according to thy word. So by you, the only way you can cleanse yourself, to cleanse that old man, right? It's to clean yourself, right? It says to purge yourself, and it says to taking heed according to the word. So you gotta take heed to the words of how about me outside. That's how you cleanse yourself. That's how you purge out the old man. It's by taking heed, right? Taking heed, right? Let's get another one, another precept. Right? It says, it's Ephesians chapter 5, verse 26. It said that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word. So this word, you need this word to cleanse yourself. You need this word, a repenting, right? That's a part of cleansing yourself, right? Let's get this precept. It's a plethora of precepts in my mind. But I want to get another precept too, real quick on what let me get a precept on cleansing yourself. Right. We're gonna go to the book of Isaiah. Right. It says Isaiah. Wash you, make you clean. Isaiah 1:16. Wash you, make you clean. Put away the evil of your doings from before my eyes. Cease to do evil. So we need to be ceasing to do evil. Passover is amongst us. We need to be ceasing to do evil. Right? That's the kind of spirit you got to be in. Right? Ceasing to do evil. Where I was reading something. This is what you don't want to be doing. Right? You don't want to be not examine yourself, right? Being a reprobate, right? Being a reprobate, all kind of stuff. Giving into lust, right? Bear with me. So I'm gonna get this precept too, though, right? It says this. All right, hold on. Let me go to this. Let me go to this precept. This is what you don't want to be doing. You don't want to go back into your old lust, right? So it says this. Hold on. Let's go. Let's start here. This 2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 18 says, for when they speak great swelling words of vanity, they are lured through lust of the flesh, through much wantonness. Those that are clean escape from them who live in error. It says those that are clean, right? And keep reading. It says, while they promise them liberty, right? This is what you want to be doing. While they promise them liberty, they themselves are servants of corruption. So you don't want to be a servant of corruption. When it says while they promise them liberty, that's talking about you men out there, you men and out there that's out there laboring and letting our people know, hey, what is the liberty? This truth. This truth. We talking about, okay, hey, the Lord shall set you free, the truth shall set you free, this and that, and blase. You know, speaking the words of Yahweh from me outside, that's liberty. That's freedom, right? This truth shall set you free, right? But it says they themselves are servants of corruption. But on the back end, you the servant of corruption. You are servant of sin, right? That's being a hypocrite. So you want to make sure during the time of Passover, in all the time, 365 every day, 24/7, that you're not being a servant of corruption, right? You don't want to be out here speaking people truth, liberty, speaking of liberty to these people. Hey man, this and that, man, Lord this, Lord that, keep the commandments, you know what I'm saying, blase, and you around here being a hypocrite, right? Right? It says, for whom a man is overcome, the same is brought in bondage, right? You done overcame a sin, right? Right? And now you in bondage by it. You don't want to be in bondage. You wanna break those strongholds. You wanna break off that old man, break away from that sin. Right? You don't want to be in bondage to sin. You want to be a servant of sin, right? These are things you need to be doing, right? The time is nigh. Let me get this precept. This is John chapter 8, verse 34. It says, Yahweh shall answer them, verily, verily, I say unto you, whosoever committeth sin is a servant of sin. Right? So you don't want to be a servant of sin. Right? You around here, sin got you in shackles. You know what I'm saying? You walk in, got your head down, and you just follow in sin everywhere you go. Right? Whatever that sin is, whatever it wants you to do, you doing it. Because you is servant. Right? So you want to be moving like this, man. You want to be moving like this, man. You want to have your spirit right, man. And it's every day, right? I can't stress that enough. Because you got people that be saying, you know, Passover coming up, man. You want to make sure your spirit right. You want to make sure your spirit's always right, man. And yes, we do fall. it happens, but you get back up and you strive, right? You cleanse yourself up, right? And you don't look back, right? It says, for if after they have escaped the pollutions of the world through the knowledge of the Lord, right, Yahweh Shai, Mashiach, it's like Lord, our Savior, Yahweh Shai, Mashiach, right, they are again entangled therein, right? So we done escaped the pollution. Pollution is filth, right? So that means we done got ourselves clean. You done got yourself clean, right? And this is after Passover. So you don't want it to be like, you done got yourself clean, right? Right? You done got yourself cleansed up for Passover. Then after Passover, right? Then you go back to that sin. You done got yourself right. You done fasted. You done got your spirit all right. You done got your spirit built up. All right, I'm ready for Passover. Right? You keeping Passover. Then after Passover, you go back. Right? You don't want to do that either. Right? So that's why I say you want to always be moving in the spirit. Right? Always cleansing yourself. Right? Always cleansing yourself. Right? It says, and overcome the latter end. All right, it says, and then again, entangle their end. Right? Because if you go back, right, and you can get entangled into that sin, right? Right? It says the latter end is worse than the beginning. Right? So you done cleanse yourself up for Passover, then Passover gone, then you go back, right, to that thing. And you could be worse than what you started out with. Right? You could be worse than what you started out with. And that's also symbolic. That's also it's really talking about us being in this truth, right? You being in this truth, you found out that you're an Israelite, found out you gotta keep the commandments, and then you go back and go back in the world. That's what it's talking about. But you can use this through the spirit for Passover, because people do the same thing for Passover. Right? When it's Passover, that's when they cleanse themselves from different pollutions. That's when they throw out the old leaven. That's when they do such and such. They fast and they doing this. They getting their spirit right? But then they try to go back. They try to go back afterwards and do whatever. Right? You don't want to do the same thing. You don't want to do that either. You don't want to be like, all right, I'm getting right for Passover, and then after Passover you go back to whatever you was doing before. You don't want to be like that. But yeah, this passage definitely talking about, you know what I'm saying, us when we go, like us it's talking about us being in the truth and going back in the world. But you definitely use it for Passover, man, because people do that, right? But well, you know, it says, for it had been better for them not knowing that, right? So this going to, like I said, this is talking about people going into this truth, you know what I'm saying, and going back into the world. But yet again, I say you could definitely use this for Passover, this scripture right here for Passover, because people be moving in that spirit, man. Right, where they cleansing themselves up. That would happen when you get in the truth. You clean yourself up. You're right, I'm not in the world no more. I'm not doing this no more. Right. And then you got some people that they go back into the world. Or you got some people that clean themselves up for Passover, and then they go back and doing those same sins again. Right? You don't want to do that. Right? So you want to make sure you always in the spirit, right? You make sure you always in the spirit, man. Always. No matter what. Right? Passover. You want to make sure you're in the spirit for Passover, New Moon, Feast of Trumpets, everything, Feast of Tabernacles, everything. You want to always make sure that you're that you're moving in the spirit, right? Make sure always you always examine yourself. You always cutting out that old man. Always. Right? So what happens after you done all right, so you done cleanse yourself up, right? For Passover, right? Salakia. Let me find this precept. I'm looking for it. Yeah, I found it. All right. Let's go to this whole. Let me get this whole chapter. So we in the book of Sirach, right? Ecclesiastes. All right. So let's go jump right here. So let's go to this. It says Sirach chapter 34 and verse 25 says, he that washes himself after the touching of dead body, if he touches again, what availeth his washing? So is a man that fasteth for his sins and doeth it again. So you got yourself cleansed up for Passover, I fast, I got my spirit right. You don't want that to be in vain. You don't want that refreshing to be in vain. Don't just do it because it's Passover. You go back and you going back and you go back to that thing. Because it was all for naught. It was all vanity. Right? So you want to cleanse yourself up, right, and stay that way. That's what you want to do. You want to cleanse yourself up and stay that way. Right? And go it again and do it the same. Who will hear his prayer? Or what doth his humbling profit him? You don't want all the work that you put in to cleanse yourself for Passover to be in vain. Right? You don't want it to be in vain. And that's go back to what we was reading before about this. And this everybody, it's like that dog going back to the vomit. Right? It's like that dog going back to the vomit. Right? But it is happened unto them according to the true proverb, the dog that is turned to his own vomit again. Right? You got people that cleanse themselves. I've seen it. You see this thing in Israel, right? They get themselves right. They get themselves together for Passover. They get it right. And then after Passover, after they ate the feast of leavened bread and blah, 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 then they go back into that vomit. Then they go back to doing the same stuff that they cleansed themselves from. Going back to the vomit. Right? And the soul that was washed to her wallowing in the mire. Right? So you don't want to go back. Right? Right? Let's get some more. Right? So you want to make sure that you're in the right spirit for Passover, man. You want to make sure you're in the right spirit. Make sure you examine yourself. Let's go to let's get this precept. Let's see what I'm looking for. Let's go to 1 Peter 3 and 2 Peter 3 and 14. Right, it says, wherefore, beloved, seeing that ye look for such things, be diligent that ye may be found of him in peace, without spot and blameless. So you want to make sure that you're found without spot and blameless in this thing, right? That's always, right? But for Passover, you make sure you make sure you're blameless, man. Making sure that your garments are clean through the Spirit, right? So it says, so you want to make sure that you're blameless, though, being diligent. But that's always, you always want to make sure you're being diligent. You always want to make sure you're being sincere, right? Always, because you never know your last breath. Hell, you might not make it to Passover. You never know. You never know your last breath is going to be. So you want to always be moving in the spirit, right? Always find yourself cleansing yourself, right? Cleansing, getting rid of that old man, right? Get something else. Let me get something else. Then I'm gonna close out. So Passover is coming up, man. You want to make sure that you're purging out that old leaven. Right, you purging out that old leaven, you getting rid of that old man. You know what I'm saying? Making sure you're fasting. Right. Matter of fact, let's get some on fasting too, man. Right. Let's go this. Go to Ezra chapter 8, and we can go to verse. All right. We just go to verse 21. It says, then I proclaimed a fast there at the river of Ahava, that we might afflict ourselves before our God to seek him of the right way for us, for our little ones. Right. So this is the point right here. It says that we might afflict ourselves, right, to seek the right way for us. So you need to be when a part of cleansing yourself, right? A good thing to do is to afflict yourself, right, and seek the Lord, right? Afflict yourself and seek the Lord, right? Because the Lord, you pull a fast, man. Lord, the Lord, He'll guide you, right? He'll guide you He'll put you on the right track. Because sometimes we steer off the track. So sometimes, pulling a fast definitely gets you back on track, right? Because you're afflicting yourself, right? You meditating on the scripture, right? And the Lord said to seek Him a right way for us, right? And the Lord will show you the right way, right? Just like how our forefathers did with seeking the Lord, they needed Him, right? They needed the Lord to come on their behalf, right? And you need the Lord to cleanse you, right? You need the Lord to guide you, right? So you can be in a right spirit for Passover, right? And one of the ways to do that, right, is by fasting. It's by fasting. You need the Lord, because you just can't do it by yourself. You need your how about Shema shot, right? So a good thing to do is to proclaim a fast, right? Let's go to Jonah. Right. Right. Touching on the fast, right? Because you see the title, it says Nineveh repents, right? And you need to be making sure you repenting, right? And one of a good ways in repenting is fasting, right? So let's go to it. It says Jonah chapter 3, verse 5. It says, so the people of Nineveh believed God and proclaimed a fast and put on sackcloth from the greatest of them even to the least of them, right? So it said, for word came unto the king of Nineveh, and he arose up from his throne, and he laid his robe from him and covered him with sackcloth and sat in ashes, right? And he caused it to be proclaimed and published through Nineveh by the decree of the king and his nobles, saying, let neither man nor beast, herd nor flock taste anything. Let them not feed nor drink water. So you want to make sure you fasting before Passover. You getting your spirit right, right? Like our forefathers, they fast for many different things, right? But one thing we need to be fast for is to be in the right spirit, right? Fast for some sin that we trying to get up off us. Fasting on a demon that we trying to beat, right? Well, that's what we need to be doing, right? Fasting to get ourselves together, to get right? Constantly, not just for Passover, but right, because yet again, you fall off in this thing, right? But you got to get back on the saddle, right? You got to get back on the saddle. And sometimes when you fall off the saddle, the best way to get back on is by fasting, right? Let me go to this one right here. Right. So the book of Baruch, chapter 4, verse 28, it says, for as it was your mind to go astray from God, so being returned, seek him 10 times more. So sometimes we get distracted, but we gotta get back up and we gotta go even harder in this thing, right? But the point of all this lesson is man, you know what I'm saying? Passover's coming up. Make sure that you're in the right spirit, man. Because you don't want to be drinking on the cup unworthily, man. So just making sure that you're in the right spirit in this thing, man. Make sure you got them demons up off you. You know what I'm saying? Because remember, this thing is we being refreshed, right? We getting refreshed, right? Remember what was going on during the time Passover, right? The Israelites was this was the beginning of new life. The Israelites starting their new lives, right? They've been living their whole life in Egypt, right? Most of these people, they was born in Egypt, right? They was born into slavery, right? And the last day, the last thing they did there was keep Passover. And after that, it was the beginning of their life as free out of there, right? And so we remembering, right? And we getting refreshed in this thing, right? It's a beautiful time of the year as well, too, right? Let me get another precept. what I was looking for. You see his precept. Let me get this right quick. Cause we were just talking about Egypt. All right, so it says Hebrews 11:28. By faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured and seeing him who is invisible. Through faith he kept the Passover in the sprinkling of the blood, lest he that destroyed the firstborn should touch them. Right? So it says, amen, through faith, Moses kept the Passover. Right? They kept the Passover. Right? So this is going on, right? He kept the Passover, right? In the sprinkling of the blood, right? Lest he destroyed the firstborn should touch them. So that's what happened, right? They had to sprinkle the blood, right, over their doorposts, lest they be destroyed, right? Lest their firstborn be killed, right? So we got to remember what happened during Passover. They moved through obedience to the Most High, right? Whatever the Most High said do, they did that, and they had faith doing it. Right, so we gotta be making sure we have faith, right? Getting ourselves built up, trusting in how about see me outside, right? And looking at things, man. You never know. This possibly could, like I said, this could be the last Passover. This could be your last Passover. You never know. You never know when your last breath is going to be, man. Right? But I'm gonna go ahead and get a closing precept out though. You know what I'm saying? All right. Go to the book of Psalms. I'm gonna close out, right? I'm gonna see this close precept. I'm gonna close out. Who shall ascend into the hill of the Lord, or who shall stand in his holy place? He that have clean hands and a pure heart, who have not lifted up his soul unto vanity, nor sworn deceitfully. So make sure you having clean hands, a pure heart, man, and don't lift up your soul to vanity in this thing, man. Cause we trying to, Lord will ascend to that hill, which is the kingdom, right? So you want to make sure you keep yourself clean, not only for Passover, but every day. You want to make sure that you keep your hands clean and a pure heart, right? So with that, man, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Shem Shalom with this edifying, man. But yet again, man, make sure you move in the right spirit, man. Passover is among us, but just not only for Passover, every day, right? But with that, shalom.